is Anna from Savvy Cat Realty, and today I'm here to talk to you about how to find property in Portugal and how hard it is to find property in Portugal. So I'm going to go over a few topics to give you a better explanation on how the market and the search can work. But for those of you who don't know, my name is Anna and I'm the owner of Savvy Cat Realty. Savvy Cat Realty is a relocation and investment agency that supports expats in moving to Portugal. We work from a lifestyle perspective and support in all the process from coming to a country to the other, the visa, the search, the location. We help you to find the best location and the best property for your own particular needs, which are always different from person to person. We work with both rentals and buying, and one of our goals is to prevent the inflation of the market done by expats and the lack of knowledge. So if this is something important for you, do feel free to reach out to us and check our services in www.savvycatrealty.com. So about today's topic, how hard is it to find property in Portugal? So the short answer is not very hard, but there are a lot of things that you should be aware of. So I am going to go over a few things. The first one is, of course, how to look. So there's a number of websites in which you can look for property in Portugal. One of the most popular ones is Idealista, and I would say that the vast majority of the listings end up there, but then you also have Supercasa, Casa Sapo, Semurush, Imo Virtual, BPI, Casa Yes, Imo Portugal, and of course the sites of the real estate agencies such as Era and Remax and Century 21, and there's a number of them really. So there is a platform that agglomerates data from all of these listing sites, but it is only accessible to people with real estate licenses. We do use it for our own research, as it is very useful to determine how long the property has been in the market, if the price has been up and down, how many people are listing it, because that's another thing that is quite relevant here in Portugal, is that the vast majority of the properties do not have exclusivity on the listings. So there are multiple agencies and agents listing the same property. And this is actually a mess because they often don't communicate between themselves. But I'll go over that in another time. So this kind of system is very useful to determine how many people are listing it and everything that's going on in the property, but it's not accessible to the general public. So that is basically how you look for property. There really is, it's not very hard to find property. The question is actually the next step. So there's a few things to consider. When you are looking for property, you of course will be worried how fast that property is going to leave the market and how much demand there is. Now, of course, that depends drastically on the city, but to give you an idea of statistics of January 2025, the current cities with the most demand in Portugal are Santarém, Setúbal, Leiria, Beja, and Bragança, which is quite curious. Lisbon is usually a place that also has a lot of demand, but these cities are taking the boards when it comes to demand. And these ratings, these statistics I'm using from Idealista, like I said, it's one of the main listing sites. The ones with the least demand are Lisbon, Funchal, Braga, Aveiro, and Viana do Castelo, which is quite curious. The market stock is also quite variable from city to city, and curiously, according to statistics, the city with the most market stock at the moment is actually Porto, followed by Aveiro, then Funchal, Faro, and Braga, And the cities with the least market stock, which means it will be much harder to find property in these cities, is Évora, Vila Real, Bragança, Porto Alegre, and Guarda. It's very different if you are looking to rent or if you are looking to buy. The buying market is a lot less active than the rental market. The rental market is very fast-paced. So to give you an idea, in 2025, the rental market demand, the buying market demand actually went up drastically, and we are at 2.5 leads per ad. And once again, these are statistics from Idealista. While in the rental market, the demand actually went down, and we are at 20 leads per ad. So this already tells you that it's basically 10 times the demand for rentals compared to buyers. And that also means that rentals are very, very fast-paced. You need to be fast on rentals, especially on the cities with low stock and high demand. In cities like Lisbon, although they are not very high on the current demand list, they're still the capital, and the rotation of stock is very fast. So especially if you find something that is decently priced, it will fly off very fast. So you really do have to give an answer on the day most of the times, otherwise it will be gone. And in cities where things are a bit more quiet at the moment and there is much more stock like Porto, you can take a few days to make a decision on a rental, but it will still be gone by the end of the week. So do keep that in mind when you are doing your research. Another thing that can be very frustrating when dealing with buying in Portugal is that it's often hard to contact and to deal with agents. And once again, this is due to the way that the market works. Like I said, it's very common for agencies not to have exclusivity and multiple agencies listing the same property. And it's also the most common practice for agents to work part-time and only get paid if they sell the property. And since they don't get exclusivity, they don't get paid at all if they don't sell the property, which means that they are in a hurry to sell. And despite this, since many of them only work part-time, it is often very, very hard to get a hold of them. So one of the complaints that I get a lot from clients that had tried to get through the process on their own is exactly the difficulty of contacting and managing contacts with agencies. Another thing that is very common, especially on buying, and it is not nearly as common on rental because how fast the market is, but on the buying market, it is extremely common to have properties listed that are no longer available. And this can be either because they have been sold by a different agency and the agency that is listing it is not aware, or it can be on purpose to gather leads and try to sell other properties that they have in their portfolio. So this is often one of the biggest frustrations, is that a lot of these properties are listed but not available. It is also very, very common for the listing information to not be correct, to not have the correct areas, the correct characteristics, the correct address. So it can be a very frustrating process to look for property in Portugal. Another thing that you should be aware of is that, once again, the buying market is not fast at all. And even in Lisbon, which is the capital and a fairly high demand city, when it comes to sales, it is said that about 30% of the properties are bought between 1 and 3 months. They are between 1 and 3 months on the market. Once again, this is a city with high demand. The majority of properties, that being 35%, are still sold between 3 months and a year, and only 14% are sold within 4 weeks. and only the smallest amount, so about 8%, are sold within a week. And the remaining 11% are sold with more than a year. So this gives you an idea of how active the market is. This will be, of course, depending on the interest of the property. So properties that are well priced will be taken out to market a lot quicker. So overall, the Portuguese real estate market is a slow market, especially the purchase market. So you don't really have to be in a hurry to make a decision. However, when there is a huge deal popping up, it will fly, especially on higher demand locations like Lisbon, but that is not extremely common. So as you can see by the statistics, only about 8% of the properties are sold within a week, and only about 15% are sold within 4 weeks. So it can tell you this is not at all the norm of the market, even in places that are fairly high demand. So you can take your time and look at options and so on, but I personally don't really advise to look at too many options, as it tends to confuse people. And it really depends on the goal on the reason why you are buying the property. If it is a property that you are buying to use for personal use for your own house, I definitely would say to go with your heart and with the comfort. And I find it extremely important to visit the property and feel that if you are comfortable in it, if it feels right, if the neighborhood is right. But it is definitely possible to do most of the process online. It is currently possible to do even the deeds online in Portugal. The promise contracts, it's fairly common practice at the moment to have them signed digitally, and it's generally accepted, although not 100%. But the deeds, although it is possible to sign them online, it's still not a very common practice. I would also like to mention a bit when it comes to budgeting for your purchase or rental in Portugal. When it comes to purchase, I highly recommend having at least 30% of the amount in cash, in available funds. You will have to be paying the fees and taxes out of pocket. And although the banks do loan up to 80%, the most common will be to stay within 70%. And in that case, it doesn't cover the taxes. So you will have to have a little bit more than that. When it comes to rentals, the minimum amount that you will be expected to pay to secure a rental will be 3 months. That is the standard and honestly a very common practice. It's an advanced rent, security deposit rent, and the last rent. However, because if you are an expat and because you don't have a safety net in Portugal and a job in Portugal, and it will be very hard for the landlord to go after you if you just go up and disappear and stop paying. It is very often for landlords to ask for more when it comes to expats. And even when it doesn't come to expats, more and more, it's more and more common that landlords ask between 4 and 6 months. I personally find more than 5 months a bit excessive. But we personally, in the company, we are okay with up to 6 months if the client is okay with it. More than 6 months, we really don't recommend. Because then we're kind of stuck with that rental. It will be very hard if something goes wrong to get that money back and if you want to leave earlier. So we really, really don't recommend paying more than 6 months. And this is also because generally, when you do yearly contracts, you will have to stay 6 months in the property anyway. So up to 6 months, I would say it is acceptable. I believe this covers the important things when it comes to looking and finding property in Portugal. I hope this was helpful. Once again, we work as buyer agents, and I highly recommend working with a buyer agent, especially if you are not native and do not speak Portuguese. One, because you probably won't have the inside knowledge about the market or the neighborhood, especially in big cities. There is good and bad neighborhoods, and the selling agents are doing their job by selling. Their job is not to protect their tenants or buyers. Their job is to protect the sellers and sell the property faster. So if you truly want your best interest as a buyer to be protected, I highly recommend getting a buyer agent, especially because the way the market in Portugal works is a bit chaotic. So I definitely recommend having someone on your side that is actually defending your interest. If not a buying agent, at least a lawyer. I think most of the buying agents work with a lawyer. In Savvy Cat, we of course work with lawyer, and everything in our services is included the legal revision of everything. And once again, we work with both rentals and purchase. We'll help you search, make the contacts, and even then connect utilities and get everything ready until you come over. So if this makes sense for you, feel free to check our services in www.savvycatrealty.com. And you can also contact us directly at contact@savvycatrealty.com. I hope this was helpful. We are here every week, so if you find this useful, feel free to subscribe. You can also check a lot of free information available on our website. So I hope to see you again next week.